Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World. I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm about to attend an MVP Fatherhood Weekend hosted by a really good friend of mine, a guy I respect by the name of Demario Solomon Simmons. And Demario is an attorney that cares about young black men. He cares about young black children, period. He cares about their families. And he's actually engaging in real action to really help all of us reclaim the value of fatherhood in our communities. People get mad at me. They think that I am, I don't know if they think I sound like a conservative when I say this. I'm not a conservative or a liberal. I'm just a person who tries to point out what I think is the best way to look at things. And basically, Demario is in agreement with me that bringing fathers back into the home over the long haul is really going to help our community. That when we devalue the meaning of fatherhood, we're hurting ourselves. And really, when we act like fathers don't matter, we're lying to ourselves. Now, fatherlessness is a condition that some of us have thrust upon us. When I was a baby, my father decided he wanted to take off, so my stepfather had to step in and fill that role, which I appreciate. But at the end of the day, I don't think that we should have fatherlessness as the default condition under which we raise our kids, because it's hard to learn how to be a man if you're never taught to be a man. So if you can't have the dad in the home, at least get a good male role model that's consistently interacting with your child on a daily basis so they can learn the tenets of manhood. Because understand this, if you're a woman and you've known the frustration of dating men who act like little boys, well, guess what? There's some parent out there who thinks they raised that boy to be a man, when the truth is nobody taught him how to be a man. So if he's used to his mama controlling everything and doing everything and always taking the lead, well, guess what? You're going to become the new mama. And I think most women don't want a mama's boy or a boy who thinks that she's his mama. They want a man who is going to take the lead and be a man. So that's my little piece on manhood, and I think what Demario's doing is amazing. I think you guys should check it out. Now, quickly, I want to talk about the NAACP and this situation with Donald Sterling. As we know, what Donald Sterling did was appalling. If you look at the trail of activity of this man, it's not as if you needed him to admit that he was a racist in order for him to be a racist. In order for us to know that he was a racist, we knew he was a racist years ago, over a decade ago. He'd been sued several times for housing discrimination. Lots of people have been complaining about him for years. And somehow, it's very interesting that somehow, because he was recorded being a racist, we somehow decided that was when we were going to just be outraged. Oh, this is unbelievable. This isn't right. This doesn't make any sense. We can't work under this man. These conditions are terrible. And that's weird to me because, and I went through this. I got into an argument with a woman on CNN about this maybe 2 days ago, where she said, well, Dr. Watkins, why would you expect those people to have to live under those conditions and work for this man who's a racist and blah, blah, blah. I said the players always knew this man was a racist. I mean, if they didn't know it, they're stupid. If they didn't know about all the lawsuits and all the complaints and the way he treated his workers, then they were idiots, which I don't think they are. So to me, it's very interesting that he has to tell us he's a racist for us to treat him like a racist. You see, that's almost like a doctor having to give you a diagnosis for you to realize you have the symptoms of cancer. That's ignorant. That's dumb. You can't say, well, my doctor gave me cancer, or since my doctor told me I have cancer, I've changed everything. Now I realize how sick I am, and it really, really hurts. Well, if cancer was already making you sick and already hurting for you, then you knew you had cancer long before your doctor ever told you had cancer. And I think this point is very important, because people have to realize that Donald Sterling's not the only one. There are two types of racists, and I said this before, I'll say it again. There's the kind of racist who records himself on tape admitting he's a racist, and then there's the racist who doesn't record himself on tape. Which group do you think is in the majority? I would say that the majority of racists, the majority of the Donald Sterlings in the world, are people who show you who they are through their actions and not their words. So when you're identifying these people, you have to look at the actions and the activity. You cannot just focus on waiting for these smoking guns to appear that lead us to then take action that we needed to be taken a long time ago. And here's another thing that's really interesting to me, and I mentioned this in my article. It's funny to me how if Donald Sterling had never recorded himself being a racist, everything would be normal. We would truly believe that this man was okay, that he was good. The NAACP would have given him a Lifetime Achievement Award. I can't get a Lifetime Achievement Award. I've dedicated my whole life to black people. Every penny I have, I've dedicated to building things that are going to help black people, and I can't get a Lifetime Achievement Award. Not that I want one. I don't think an NAACP Lifetime Achievement Award is worth a bucket of piss. Excuse my French, but but at the same time, I wouldn't be eligible for one. You probably wouldn't be eligible for one. but Donald Sterling can get one, right? So he would have gotten this award, which would have been, I think, maybe the second or third award that they'd given him over the years. So every time a person goes into his office and complains and says, or goes into the NAACP's office and says, this guy discriminated against me, he mistreated me, all Donald Sterling has to do is say, bam, pull out that award, put it in your face. How can I be a racist? The NAACP, who is positioned to allegedly protect you, has confirmed, has validated me, has given me the stamp of approval to say that not only am I not a racist, but I am a champion for the rights of people of color. And if you don't understand how sick that is, how corrupt that is, how horrible that is, then we got a problem. And think about this too. When he got that award, he would have been sitting right next to Reverend Al Sharpton. And again, I try not to talk too much about Sharpton because I don't want my feelings to pollute what other people think one way or the other. But I can say that from working very closely to him, I moved away. I distanced myself because I wasn't comfortable with the things I saw. And I'll just say that much. I won't say much more. You can look in my eyes to see what else I might be thinking. But here's the deal. Sharpton would have been sitting right next to this man, and he would have shook his hand. He would have applauded him when he got that award. He wouldn't have said a word, and he probably would have taken that man's money along with the LA chapter of the NAACP. And if you want to know what's wrong with black leadership today, that is it. That is it. It's not even the fact that he bought the NAACP for $45,000, which is about how much interest he earns, and I want to say maybe 4 or 5 hours or something based on his wealth level. But so people probably got paid under the table. This is the kind of corruption that exists within black leadership. And actually, when I wrote my book Black American Money, I talk about this, how America is a capitalist society. Money controls so many things that happen in this country. If you see somebody doing things that don't make sense, just follow the money, and it'll all start to come together. You'll start to understand why they're doing what they're doing. And I think this is a perfect example to kind of show us that, look, in order for us to really move forward in the 21st century and to propel ourselves as a community, to really have the kind of leadership that we need, and I'm not trying to put myself in the position of being a black leader. If what I say helps you and inspires you to lead yourself, then I'm glad to contribute to that. But at the end of the day, I don't want to think for you. I don't want to tell you what to do. I want you to think for yourself. Because there's so many people out here that are here to tell you what to think and to get you behind the Democrats, even when the Democrats are screwing you, to get you behind issues that you don't believe in, to get you to want to give to things and sort of selectively choose which racial issues are important to you, which ones aren't. For example, we're upset about Trayvon being killed by a man who isn't black, but we don't care about all the black men and black women who are killed by other black people. I'm sorry, that's not gonna. I don't think that's the way we need to move forward. So in order for us to propel, a couple things need to happen. Number one, we have to get rid of our addiction to really irresponsible materialism. Look, I am a finance professor. I'm wearing a nice suit because I've made money. I know money. I like money. I don't have a problem with money. But one thing I understand about money is that you cannot be addicted to money. So when you hear an artist, for example, a rapper like a Jay-Z or something, talk about how he lives for money and he practically worships money, you got to understand how sick and how poisoned that line of thinking is. Because that's why you see Jay-Z worth $500 million, but he's afraid to do anything controversial. He's always riding the fence. He never really takes a step out on anything that matters in the world because he's afraid of losing the money he's got. So money did not liberate him. Money has enslaved him. And that's one of the reasons why I started the Financial Juneteenth platform, is to not only help people use the power of money to liberate themselves, but to understand how money can be used to do that, as opposed to making you into a high-paid slave. Because in our society, we have a lot of high-paid slaves. So that's the first thing we got to do, is get past our addiction to money. Number two, we have to learn how to move forward in a way that where we're able to accumulate resources and bring them into our community, so that when we do believe in an organization, which I don't know if the NAACP should or should not be one of those organizations we believe in. They have a really disturbing history. But when we do believe in something, when we want to support our own institutions, we can find ways to come up with that money. We can find ways to give back. We can find ways to support each other's businesses. Because I'm going to tell you like this, point blank, especially if you're a black man, white people ain't giving you no jobs. They're not going to give you jobs. There's a whole lot of Donald Sterlings in the world. You probably work with a couple of Donald Sterlings. I mean, think in your mind. I'm sure you got a Donald Sterling on your job that's coming to mind right now. And that's how they see us. They don't respect us. as I mentioned in the article, they think we're one chromosome away from being a farm animal. Many of them would not want us dating their daughters, or coming to their house for dinner, or being very close to them, or doing business with them, or being trusted with their money, or etc. And the thing about it is this that's interesting, is that we don't really deserve respect sometimes because we don't respect ourselves. If you are constantly showing up as somebody else's business, begging for a job, how in the world are they ever going to respect you? They're looking at you and saying, okay, I'll give you the scraps. I'll give you what I don't need, but I'm not going to give you real power, because I need my real power, and I don't want you to be empowered, because then the beggar becomes the captain of this situation, and they don't want the beggar to be the leader. The beggar has not earned the right to be the leader. So, as Malcolm told us a long time ago, as long as we spend our time begging the Donald Sterlings of the world for a job, we will always be jobless. We will always be struggling. We will always be complaining. We will always be unhappy. We will always be an inch away from being damn near suicidal, because I'm talking about real cases where workplace discrimination has made people nearly suicidal, has bred mental illness, has really destroyed people internally. That's where we're going to have to live mentally until we make the decision to liberate ourselves. So when I talk about the Donald Sterling issue, I think we should go hard. That man should be destroyed, absolutely. I don't know if a black owner is going to necessarily have better business practices than a white owner. It all depends on the owner's psychological makeup. But understand, Donald Sterling that's not progress. Fighting Donald Sterling is not progress. Donald Sterling is the tip of the iceberg. We need to dig into the iceberg. We need to fight racism, and the best way to fight racism is to engage in self-respect and to stand up for ourselves, make our own money, support each other, not be afraid. Financial Juneteenth. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. Take care. God bless, and have a wonderful day. I'm gone. Peace.